Welcome back to episode. We're just laughing at me. Great. Episode 6 of Psychotic PY Podcast. We have a lot to talk about this week, so let's get going, Bridget.
Yay! Welcome to episode 6. Wait, sorry, that was a crunch of a pillow. I'll move the pillow.
Nobody heard that, but now you just made it
Oh,
awkward.
sorry. I don't want my sound to be flustered. Okay, so yay, we're so excited. Oh my god, I just realized it's June. Is that not the summer I turned pretty month?
Yes, at the end of the month.
Oh my god, guys, happy June. Happy the summer I turned pretty final season. Everyone, oh my god, I'm so
You
excited.
better end up with Conrad, or I will rage fire hells.
We're team Connie, right?
Yeah, we're Team Connie, baby.
Although Jeremiah should be like a good friend forever. He's
Yeah, I mean, I
adorable.
think he will be because, I mean, they're practically like cousins.
Yeah.
Also, funny side story. We were talking about this yesterday, me and mom, and she was acting as if she knew these people and this was like a literal family that she
Wait,
summers with.
she's seen this show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
She's waiting for
perfect.
the season
Okay.
3. And she was just like, you know what? That girl is just messing with those boys. That is not right. She should not be ping ponging. And I'm like, Mom, it's a storyline.
Okay, she should not be ping-ponging though. Can we just say,
No.
Belly, girl, get your shiz together. You can maybe fuck with friends a little bit, not brothers.
Yeah. And how mom was saying it was like such a close relationship. They were more like cousins. So it's even worse because
Mm,
obviously you're always going to be with these people.
yeah. Oh no.
So
Yeah.
mom was like not having it. She's like, I love the show, but my God, why does she jump back and forth?
The heart wants what it wants, Jerry.
But apparently
But
she
yeah.
wants both.
I know, but who wouldn't? Connie's got the steaminess, but Jeremiah like personality and like so
Mm.
funny, so cute.
Yeah, like Jeremiah makes me laugh, but that moody, broody thing that Connie's got, ugh.
I
Mm.
know.
Ugh.
Also, the star of the show is their mother who lives
Yeah.
the dream life.
Unfortunately, she died of cancer. But
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh,
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
R.I.P. What was her name
RIP.
again? I used to
That
know her
does
name.
happen in season 2. I forgot.
Susan, right? Susan? Is her name Susan?
I
I
have
think
no
so.
idea.
Susan. Susan died.
Oh my god, so sad. I forgot that. It's been so long that I
Mhm.
couldn't even remember.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, not the point of our podcast.
Sorry,
Continuing
no.
on.
We got off there. Okay, so welcome to the podcast. But we are talking about mamas today and mental health. So there's as they say in the news, the moms are not all right, and there's new data to prove it. So there was a major study, and it talks about moms in the US, and there's been a sharp drop in mental health since 2016. Just a quick little side note, like if anyone's had a baby or if you work in healthcare, you know that when you go for your 6-week checkup, they give you like the Edinburgh postpartum depression screening. This should be standard. So if you've had a baby and you went to your 6-week checkup and you didn't get the screening, you better mention it. And it just helps gauge if you think you have. It's just a questionnaire. It's or do you think you're more anxious than usual? Are you more stressed than usual? Are you having anger? Are you crying more than usual? Do you feel lonely? All this stuff. And a lot of it is like typical, like you might be lonelier. That's fine. That doesn't mean you have postpartum depression, but it's a culmination of all the symptoms. So just that's how we gauge it, just so everyone knows. So among nearly 200,000 mothers with children under 18, 1 in 12, so 1 in 12 moms rated their mental health as fair or poor. Single moms, no surprise, and
Mhm.
those with kids on Medicaid or uninsured are the worst because they're obviously living in constant fear if your kid is uninsured or on Medicaid. And for single moms, you have not a minute to yourself, I don't think ever. Um, so the number of moms who said their mental health was excellent also has plummeted. Dads also saw a decline, but not nearly as bad as moms. So the study did not follow the same women over time, but experts say that the trend is striking and noticeable, and we need to do something about it. And it's very validating for moms everywhere who I think I've been saying for a while, like, we're not okay. And now I think people feel it's a lot more comfortable because of social media, probably.
Mhm.
Social media says like it's okay to speak up. Also, we're seeing, moms from Denmark and moms from Sweden who get a year paid maternity leave and, help and spousal support and all this stuff. And you're like, oh shit, like we are so far behind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're so far behind, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. So researchers are trying to theorize why this is happening, and they think maybe inflation, obviously because you're having added stress of budgeting, substance use disorders, loneliness, which we've talked about a lot, and then racism and climate change. I think all these things are just stressors. What do we call them? ACEs, adverse childhood experiences and stuff. All these added stressors in your life. They just culminate, and now you have a baby, and you're tired, and you're alone, and yeah, it's very, very sad. So many women also carry the bulk of caregiving and housework. Even fully employed moms tend to do most of that work, and they do it without paid family leave. And mental health care itself. So there's a therapist shortage. And the costs and scheduling, so you can't even get help even if you're asking for it. So there we go.
Rough. It's rough out there for mothers, let me tell you. I mean, all of this definitely would explain why things are not going in the right direction for mothers and what they're reporting. It doesn't shock me at all. I think now that we have social media, we are kind of creating our own village that is definitely, we have a lack of these days. But also, sometimes I feel like that can still be isolating because it's not like a in real life IRL village, right? Like it's still through a screen. I mean, I know there's mommy meetups and stuff, but not everyone can go, right? Sometimes it's hard.
Okay, yeah. I have such a I love the idea of a mommy meetup, but I actually do not physically understand how people do it. So I've done one ever. Because let's say they're always let's say Wednesday at 10 a.m. or something, it's like an impossible time. Also,
Mhm.
when you have a very young baby and that's when you actually need it the most, like they're not
Mhm.
newborns anymore, but they're so young that you're like, I haven't seen anyone in days. They are literally it's your window of opportunity for that mommy meetup is so narrow. What are the odds that it's that hour that the mommy meetup is taking part, right? Like it just never works.
Nope, I know. I agree. I honestly, I probably went to only one too. I don't know many moms who actually make it work because I feel like anyone that I know that's given birth is like, oh yeah, like I like the concept, but like time wise, it's not going to really work out for me.
No, that's why I think the best thing is if you have a small group of, even if they're only acquaintances, but now you get closer because you have kids, you
Hmm.
can just text the group and be like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. How about this day, this time? And you do a little poll and you get that day. That's what I do with my book club because we're all young moms.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
You got lucky because your neighborhood is obviously young people. We have definitely like an older crowd on our street, but I mean, they're great for other things, like being like that dad or grandpa for you, and they have all the tools that you could ever need to borrow, which is great. And obviously, they have more experience with homeowning. So if we have questions, John's like,
That's
let me go
good.
ask Joe because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But
That's true.
other than that, I would say it's a bit lonely. I mean, obviously, now, Bridget, as you've seen, they've expanded a bit, and obviously, newer families have come in. But I feel like there's still that separation because those families that moved in got close because they all I don't know, they have the same home builder. I don't. Mine is the other one that left the area. And I don't know, I just feel like they all just the same way that us and the older generation on our street all kind of had this camaraderie thing going
Yeah.
on. And so now I feel like I missed the boat on that, even though I know I could just walk 500 feet down and just be social. But that's the thing. I'm not the social sister. So I don't want to do that.
You know what you should do? Throw a fucking rager.
You know what's funny? I think about that all the time. Like, you know how on Bad Moms, the first original movie ever, she starts getting like a lot of friends because she's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. She just like skips all parent teacher conference meetings, has this big rager at her house where moms are like, yeah, let loose. And I'm like, should I do that? Is that just for movies? Should I
Oh my
just
god,
throw
no, you should. The best thing about A, being a homeowner, and B, being an adult is you can actually throw a party whenever you want. You're not like,
I
"Is
throw
mom
a
out of
mom rager?
town?"
I am the mom. So you're telling me you're giving me the green light to throw a mom rager?
I think that would be so cool, actually.
You know what's even cooler? If I invite people from down the street, I know that three of them have cop husbands. Does that mean if we have noise complaints, they'll ignore it?
There will be no noise complaints.
Will they delete
Oh,
them as they come in?
yeah. Oh my god, that would be so cool. Oh my god, throw this party.
Like I'm nervous. Like what if I throw it but it's like me?
Oh, I mean, been there, done that, girl.
You've thrown a rager and no one showed up? That's not a
That's
rager.
a story for another day. It wasn't at my house, but
You fucking tell me right now. You tell all of our listeners. You tell them.
no, I'm not gonna name the name, but when in high school, we were only freshmen, is, like, still one of my best friends now, and, it wasn't like we were like, "Oh, let's throw a rager," but, like, when you're in the first month of high school and, like, everyone
Mm,
wants to throw parties just because you're like, "We're in high school, and that's how you make friends," whatever. So she very casually was like, "Hey, like, I'm gonna have some people over," and she lives in a good neighborhood, so, like, people from our school live nearby. And, it was literally just, like, so last minute that everyone, like, messaged and they're friends of ours, genuine, like, conflicts of interest, like, I have practice till whatever time, like, a lot it was fall, so a lot of guys were on the football team. One of the girls we cheered with, like, hadn't moved yet, she lived far away still, because she was originally coming down from, like, St. John Vianney is, like, where she would have gone to high school,
mhm.
so she lived up there still, and she was like, "No, like, we're 14, like, we don't have our license." Anyway, all this stuff. So we were like, "Oh shit!" Like no one. And her mom like bought us cookies, and like we put cookies on a tray, and we just sat there. It was so cute.
That is actually really cute and sad.
I know.
And now Jerry's gonna listen to this and be like, I knew I should have let her go. She lied.
No, but I just hung out at this girl's house, and then we ended up like going to the boardwalk with like a guy friend, and he's like, "Oh, weren't you throwing a party tonight?" And we are like, "Oh."
No, no, we're not. Shut up. It's girls' night. So that's my biggest fear though. Like at least I could like say if that happened at 14, it's in the past now, but like you know how moms have like we were just talking about moms have conflicts. Like moms might want to go, but then they can't. Their kid's sick, babysitter drops out, husband can't handle shit and texts them nonstop. What happens if like they're like, yeah, I'm going, and then 5 minutes before they're like, not happening. Sorry, I'm
This
a
is
mom.
what you do: is you put an RSVP. Adults are pretty like beholden to the RSVP.
Not moms. Have you met moms?
Yeah, well, oh, guys, let us know. Should Mercer throw a little mom rager?
Can you please put this as a question on our Instagram?
Yeah, I will. I will. Oh my god, it'd be so
What's
fun.
gonna this is no, what's gonna be embarrassing is if I actually have to do it because you get a lot of guesses, and then I'm like, well, shit. Guess
It's
I'm
the
throwing a mom
summer,
right.
girl. 'Tis the season.
The podcast mid rager, like everybody say hey, hey.
Oh. Oh my god, it'd be
Tell
so
Bridget she's
cool.
missing out.
Oh no, wait, no, do it in August.
Oh God, that would be cool. Anyway,
Oh,
like let me know if like you've all seen Bad Moms and you want to have a mom rager. Like, let's do it. My house is
yeah,
your house. Mi
yeah.
casa, tu casa.
Ditch those kids.
Ditch those kids. Ditch.
Ditch
That should be
those
the
kids.
hashtag. After you ask the question, hashtag ditch those
Ditch
kids.
those kids. What else I want to talk about though about like mental health, and because you know how there's a pro-natalist movement with like
Mm,
trad wives and trying to get like make America pregnant again.
mm.
But what we're seeing is people our age who are like dinks are like, no, like we've seen what it's done to our friends. Like we don't want that life. And I'm like, more power to you.
Yeah.
Like you might be making the right choice. And they're saying like, because I think they were talking about giving like a one-off
Yeah.
$5,000 bonus if you have a baby. And
Yeah.
people are like, that's not what we need though. Like what we need is like healthcare, like
Mm,
maternal mental health care and maternal health care. Like if you want us to have kids, we need to be supported by our
mm,
government and supported by our community. Like a one-time $5,000. Like I have really good friends who are going through the IVF process right now. And we were hanging out in New York last month, and he literally was like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, fuck your $5,000. Like, you have no idea how much this shit costs. Like, he's like, seriously, 5 grand? That's a drop in the bucket.
yeah.
Like, what we need is like care,
Yeah.
daycare,
Yeah.
mental health care. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I $5,000 is not going to get you very far, especially because most deductibles anyway. Like, so our deductible for both kids is $2,500. So, like, for people who do pay those off, wink, wink. Like there's half your five gone.
I know. So it's just like, I think we are living in a time where people are more informed and they're like, I don't want to have kids just because that feels like
Mm,
the next step. What I'd
mm,
rather be like taking vacations when I want, going to eat when I want,
mm,
not worrying about scheduling a babysitter, money for daycare, all this stuff. And it really does take a toll on your health. You have to get used to your new level of fitness, used to your new
mhm.
body, used to you are never coming first again.
Yeah.
That's really hard sometimes. I one time held my pee. It was very recent. I'm saying I one time. It was literally like 3 days ago. I held my pee for like 4 hours. I forgot I had to go because
You,
yeah.
you tiny bladder Bridget in our family.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
But, like, moms, like, you're like, "Oh, I have to pee." "Not right now because 'cause I'm doing this, now I'm doing this." I finally, like, put him to bed, and I was like, "Ha ha, I still have to pee." Like, you don't have time, and that is why maternal mental health is so fucking bad because you
Yeah.
really have to, like, grapple with this new life, and it's never the same.
Correct. And like I feel like in order to have the help that you need, you have to be well off because it
Oh,
all costs big bucks.
mm,
So, which it shouldn't be. I mean, like, you want us to have more babies, but like, where's the support? Why do I have to grovel at your feet
mhm,
for it? For like bare minimum pennies.
yeah. So, it's an interesting time that we're living in, with this whole trad wife thing. Yeah, I don't
Again,
know how I
I have nothing against it. Again, I don't care how people live. That's never been my problem. It's like I don't like when people start pushing it, right? And then judge you for what you choose. That's where I'm like,
yeah.
okay, take a step back, Betty. Okay, Betty Crocker, get out of here.
So they're using these very young, because 'cause they're all young, the trad wives, like, younger than me.
Yeah.
They're using these young influencers basically to push the pronatalist movement, so they're trying to, like, slowly
Yes.
undermine, like, the women in the workforce thing. That's
Hmm.
my problem with it. If you wanna do it personally, you're like, "I've always wanted to be a mom," fine, but
Hmm.
don't then undermine, like, the Equal Rights Act and
Right. Right.
because there are plenty of women who do not wanna be moms. Don't fuck it up for
Yeah.
them.
Right. Or I mean, even there's a sensitive whole area of people who do but can't. So what? Because they can't, they're now useless to
Yeah.
the.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, because 'cause they're not, like,
Right.
following their divine calling or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I that's my
Yeah.
problem with it.
We're kind of crossing into Handmaid's Tale a bit. We're kind of this story. I've
Mm.
heard this before. I've heard this before.
Oh, god, I need to watch that last season.
Okay, I'm like on episode 4, so I don't want to ruin anything and don't spoil anything for me if you've gone further. But okay, next subject. But yeah, no, I think like you do you, that's fine. What I will say though, from my experience with you talking about trad wives and even being younger than you, right? I will say this is not the first time in history that that's happened, and I'm not saying because of our grandparents, whatever. When I met my husband John and he was in the Marines, that remember Bridget and I would tell you stories of the women there. Like these were women who were married at 17, 18, all the way up to 21. Some already had 2 babies by 21, 22. The difference back then, less social media, and it wasn't like it was pushed by influencers or the government. It was just military life culture basically,
Mm.
right? But I feel like it never truly went away. It was always there because I always felt like I lived a double life with John. I would go down there and I was the weird girl for being in college and wanting to have a career and not being married. And they were all like, "Girl, what are you doing? Just live on base. Give up your life for this man." And I'm like, "No, thank you.
Ooh.
No, thanks." That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I think it could be very, isolating and you feel trapped at that age because you didn't carve out a little place in the world for yourself yet.
Hmm.
And if you carve out that place and then you decide to ditch it, that's your prerogative, you're an adult. But if you never carved out that place,
Hmm.
where do you go if, God forbid, you divorce or he dies or whatever? That's a bit unnerving.
Well, what's even scarier is, at least from our whole experience, there is only, I want to say one, maybe two. No, I think one, only one couple out of the many we were in a group with that actually stayed married to their first military partner. The rest were
Wow.
divorced. So it shows you that like that's not, you were babies. You didn't even know you yet and you decided
Mhm.
to create a whole ass family. Are you sure? No.
Babies having babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that segues perfectly into our next topic, millennial divorce. Oh, yeah, millennial divorce. You know what? I actually think about like all the time because I'm 30. Like I've been to a
Huh.
million weddings in the last few
Huh.
years. Like in a decade, I think I'm going to get invited to a lot of divorce parties.
No, it's inevitable no matter what generation you grew up in. Yes.
I kind of can't wait just to be like, oh, not that I want anyone's marriage to fail.
No. No, but because of social media, they're pretty lit now. Like, wear the wedding dress and burn it. You
Yeah.
know, like they're like lit as hell. Please invite me.
Like, do you and John have, like, in your head, like, the probabilities that a couple's gonna fail or not? Like, do you
I
talk
wouldn't
about it?
I wouldn't say number statistically wise, but do John and I have good perception of who's perfectly matched and who isn't? Absolutely. We're usually spot on.
Oh, so you've called some divorces.
Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh, I'm not there yet because no one's gotten divorced, but Ted and I, like, have we don't, like, discuss it in depth, but, like, we'll be
Mm,
like, They're not gonna make it," and, like,
yeah.
we say, like, "They'll be married for, like, a decade, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
less."
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just kinda, like, I can't wait to see things come to fruition.
Yeah.
I know it's fucked up. Is that fucked
Wow,
up?
betting their demise? Fuck.
I know. I know it sounds really bad, but it's kinda nice to be like, "We were right."
There is always that one couple though that really gets us. Like they're still married happily, we think, and we're like, really? Oh, interesting. Caught us there. Didn't
They're
think that.
the you know, there are, couples like that.
Yeah, yeah. But that's
Couples that
no, I
thrive
mean
on
like
the
our
chaos.
generation, me and John's generation. But I'm like, I know what you're saying. But yeah, but yeah, no. They shock you, and I don't know if it's just like the sheer bond of agreeing not to divorce that keeps them together, but or their pure hatred of having to go back in the dating world. They're like, nah, fuck this.
Do you
I
think
don't know.
they actually dislike each other though, or is their relationship just dysfunctional, but it works for them maybe?
I think maybe it's dysfunctional. It works for them. I do think they love each other, but it's very dysfunctional. I would have thought though. See, the thing is what you do see is dysfunction could take it takes its toll, right? And
Mm,
15 years into the marriage, maybe 20, if you can last that long, eventually one of the parties that goes, I deserve better or peace. I don't want anything, but I just want peace, you know.
yeah.
Um, but it's just miraculous that they're like saints, man. They're just little go getters,
Oh
like.
my god, we're gonna talk about this when we're done recording. I wanna know who it is. I want the tea.
Ugh.
Right. So we're talking about divorce. We're talking about millennials,
Mhm,
which, millennials are the first generation ever to like help bring the divorce rate to at
mhm,
least like a slight plateau, but
mhm.
it's not, stopping. Like people still get divorced, but we're the first generation to minimize it slightly. So, um, you need to save up for a divorce. We all know that. Business Insider today, I read this in the news today, reports that divorces cost millennials upwards of six figures. It's so expensive that a lot of people can't afford to live in their cities anymore. So we're talking like New York, Chicago, LA, major cities. People are moving out of the cities and moving in with family again. They're
Yeah,
moving back home, even if you're like 30s, 40s, probably in your 40s,
mm,
because divorces are so expensive.
they are.
So other couples are choosing to stay legally married
Mhm,
while living their single lives rather than pay for divorce lawyers.
mm,
So the numbers, so Pew Research found that 77% of partnered adults were doing at least okay financially compared to 64% of people without partners. So what we know is if you are partnering, you tend to do better financially because you're pooling resources. It's just basic math, like the two of you buying a house versus one single person on one income buying a house. That
mhm.
can really fuck you up.
Yep.
So, a family attorney said when people get a divorce, they're cutting their net worth in half. You're cutting
Yes.
it in half, just accept it. And that obviously hits especially hard for women since courts don't always take the gender pay gap and unpaid care work into account when dividing assets or awarding spousal support and childcare. So many boomers who divorced often had more financial stability, but millennials face a different reality, especially because we marry later and there's more to lose.
Mm. Yes.
Um, so yeah, the divorce decline hopefully will happen, and they say, quote, "Till debt do us part."
I mean, yeah, things are definitely not great in the economy right now, so this none of this shocks me. I
Right?
mean,
Would you, financially speaking, now because you have children,
mhm.
would you, if you were ever in this position, stay legally married just to avoid the huge hit to the income and the money flow to your kids and stuff?
No, but only because I feel see, this would be different if I married somebody else, but I think because I married a partner who would still be a very present father and make sure he paid like the child support he needed to make sure our kids had the same lifestyle, if anything. Like even though this is a very like grim topic to talk about, me and John are still very open about it. Again, no plans to divorce at all, but like we are still like to talk about things like what ifs, just in
Mhm.
case. and we are pretty much very much on the same page. Like, he's like, you would absolutely get the house or whatever house you're in at the time. Like, the kids need stability. You're their
Yeah.
mother. Keep the house. I don't want it. He's like, obviously, we still want to keep them in the good Catholic schools. So whatever that needs from me, you've got it. Like, he's still like, whatever they need. I don't want to interrupt the sports they're in, the schools they're in, their routine. So like, but I married a good person. Not everyone. Some people marry spiteful people. Like they are like, how, which way can I fuck you left and right? Which
Yeah.
they don't realize you're just hurting the children if there are kids.
Yes. So, I mean, again, no plans to divorce, but Ted and I have discussed it that like we would, in order to not divide assets, we would basically just live separate lives in the same home. So our kids would not like nesting, like they say. So like
Mhm.
the kids don't move, but like you might
Mhm.
rent an apartment if someone needs to get away and you leave, but the kids
Yeah,
stay and everything.
correct.
So, yeah, like I think if money was not an issue at all and we needed to get legally divorced, we would. But if money was like,
Mhm.
going to be cut in half and we're in like a sticky situation at the time, we have said like we would just stay legally married and like I would just redo the guest room and get my my bachelorette suite.
You're like, don't mind me, Ted. Jorge's just coming over. Let him in.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Ted.
Because it's interesting though. Like, I mean, if you have a good relationship, you can talk about these things.
Yes. Yeah.
But you just think, especially with children, you don't want the division of assets in a way that is going to negatively affect your children's future. Obviously, everything you have, you want to leave to your kids.
Correct.
So you don't want
Correct.
to lose it to divorce.
Like you said earlier when you introduced this topic, you're not just losing assets, you're dividing resources as well, like childcare.
Mhm.
So like if you still can't co-parent and be a good team player, you're really screwing yourself too, your kids and yourself, because you're going to be a slave to the childcare then if you can't like communicate and divide properly.
Yeah. It's so tricky to think about. Oh my god, I actually feel really bad for people now. Like you'll be doing probably double the like, let's
Mhm.
say now there's 2 places to clean. Now
Yes.
you're arranging pickup in a not very nice way a lot of times in divorce because 'cause you're not like, "Oh, no, I'll get them this," like, you're like, "You get them this day. It doesn't work for me. Oh, well, fuck you. It's your time."
Mhm.
So you're doing, like, double the scheduling, double housework. Oh my god, so stressful. Yeah, so they're
Ridiculous.
saying it really affects millennial women more than anyone because the women, as you've said, you do all the scheduling and stuff like that for your family. So now you're doing double the admin work, plus you're trying to like clean the house without any partner, no help now. You're living there alone. So, yeah, to add to the list of the moms are not all right. Now, mothers who are divorced.
Oh god. Well, I mean, I get it though. I mean, the topic definitely, I get it. Like you said, we're getting married later, except for the whole trad wife phenomena. But we're getting married later, so we have more. Our careers are further along, or we have more assets. We're used to also, being more like we could have more freedom. We're career women, this, that, whatever. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it does take a hit financially, and
Yeah.
yeah.
In celebrity news, Offset asked for spousal support from Cardi B. She makes way more
Really?
than him. Yeah.
Wow.
Read that
Wow.
yesterday.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
Hmm. Did it work? Does it happen?
I don't know. I don't know what he's going to be awarded. But I assume the children will live primarily with her, so he doesn't really have a lot of grounds to stand on for spousal support
Yeah, I mean, if you're not primary caretaker, why do you need that?
to uphold the life he was used to living.
I mean,
I
you're
know.
beat. You're beat, kid.
I know. It's interesting because they're
Yeah.
not necessities. You know what I mean? You're both celebrities, so the money he makes, even if it's like a fraction of what she makes, is still more than the average person. So you have enough to live.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens, but we live in a crazy world now where you celebrities can now ask for that, even though they both have careers.
that is crazy. Wow.
Mm. And now we're mixing it up completely. To wrap this up, we are talking about exercise, improving your chances of survival and remission in people with colon cancer.
Nice. Love that switch up.
I know, such a switch up. So, the New England Journal of Medicine just published an article, and it was discussed at the oncology conference in Chicago just this past week. So doctors can now definitively say that exercise will significantly reduce the risk of colon cancer returning in patients after treatment. So these participants were all colon cancer late stage 2 or stage 3. They all had surgery and then chemo. And then part of their treatment plan, they were randomized. Half of them, I think it was like 441 and then 450. So half went to no exercise. The other half went into an exercise routine. The important thing, though, is to know that these people were working with trainers or physiotherapists or kinesiologists. So it was one of the three. So they were assisted exercise programs where they asked you specifically what you enjoy. So it was a tailor-made program to help you stick with it.
Okay.
So that's important to note, is that they did have help from trainers. But of the ones that the randomized into the exercise group, exercise was as useful as some drugs. So you could reduce the risk of cancer returning, a new cancer diagnosis, or even death by 28% reduction.
Hmm.
So it's statistically significant. And now they're saying, because what you see is after people undergo chemo and surgery, they're like, what else can I do? And it used to just be like, oh, just keep up a healthy lifestyle. And now doctors can definitively say, actually, a structured exercise program can improve your overall survival, which is so interesting. I love reading about this stuff. What else was it? Oh, so most people did about a 45-minute to an hour brisk walk 4 to 5 days a week. That was one of the main exercises, which we always say walking is so good
Yeah.
for humans. But yeah, so it's very important to know that, you can see reduction so in these patients, they had reduced chances of developing like breast cancer later on as well.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. It's so interesting. I love it. So, just to keep in mind, guys, if you are battling any chronic diseases, usually a structured exercise program does help. If you're not physically disabled and you're able to do it, you should try it, especially a little morning walk. The sun,
Yeah.
good for your serotonin in the morning.
Walk is
Beautiful.
great exercise.
So, it's good to know. Anything else to discuss today? I will put your poll. I'm going to put your poll up right now. Should Marissa throw a rager?
Should I throw a raider? I don't think anything on my end. I feel like this was successful, guys. What do you think?
I think so.
Of course, we ended with the colon. Got to end with the ass.
What?
We ended with the colon news.
Oh, yes, everything goes through the butt.
Oh, with your ass up. Anyway, so Bridget's like shaking her head. Anyway, still that sister. Not going to get rid of me, Bridget.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Her elevator waiting room music
Yep,
as she puts our post up.
yep. Sorry, guys. So, thank you so much for joining us. Episode 6 of this season 3.
Yep. Season 3.
Yep. It's been a great time so far. So, we're happy to have you here. Tell us what you wanted to talk about, what you want us to talk about. Sorry. And I am going to put a poll, should Mercer throw a rager? And thank you so much for tuning in.
Alrighty. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.